and welcome back. Today's video is part 2 of the Azure Braindump series. Last week we covered an introduction to the AZ-900 exam, but now things are getting serious. We're gonna go over some concepts, some terms that will really help us elevate our cloud computing game. Just like last week, I have my notes here, so I'm gonna be looking it down a lot. Please don't get spooked out that I'm not keeping the eye contact. It's much more productive that I'm down here because this is where the goods are. As always, if you enjoy this channel, consider subscribing, give me a like, give me a comment, and follow me on social media at Mimz Tech Group. Let's jump into it. All right, so we're gonna start off with skill measure number 1, describe cloud concepts. Remember that this is 25 to 30% of the exam. So topics we're gonna discuss. 1 is describe cloud computing. 2 is describe the benefits of using cloud services. And 3 is describe cloud service types. Cloud computing is basically Azure's resources that folks can rent and be charged by the hour instead of having to purchase hardware. Resources in Azure Portal. We're gonna be talking about 3 resources at the moment. So 1 is web app. Web app is defined as extractions above virtual machines to work with applications that you create. So 2 key concepts for the web app. You do not manage the operating system, but you do get more features as a developer. The second resource is function app. Function app allows you to edit code and executions. The third resource is logic app. Logic app allows you to connect 2 apps together. So key concept here is you can perform one process, and with that one process, you can trigger another process as like a chain link situation. So those were the 3 main resources in Azure. There's also resource categories. So resource categories, 1 is AI, artificial intelligence, 2 is ML, machine learning, and 3 is DB, which is databases. All right, so we're gonna move on to shared responsibility model. Shared responsibility model is how Microsoft and the customer divide responsibilities. There are 4 types of responsibilities we're gonna discuss. The first one is more responsibilities for the customer. The fourth one is less responsibilities. The first one is on-prem responsibilities, which is kind of obvious. It's on-prem, Microsoft has nothing to do with it, so the customer has complete responsibility for their infrastructure. The second one is cloud virtual machine responsibilities, and this one is a mixture of Microsoft Azure having responsibilities for the security aspect of it, and then the client having responsibilities for everything else. The third is cloud app service responsibilities, and this one is shared and mixed. So the client no longer has responsibilities for the operating system, but the shared responsibilities are for authentication. The fourth one is cloud SaaS responsibilities, so software as a service. This one is less responsibilities for the customer. Azure takes over software as admin. Next, we're discussing types of cloud platforms. So we have public, private, and hybrid. We'll start with public cloud just because it's kind of obvious. So public cloud is defined as cloud platforms available to the public. The more advanced definition for public cloud is computing services offered by third-party providers over public internet, making them available to anyone who wants them. An example of public cloud is Azure owns the hardware, a client is renting resources from Azure. So that's how public cloud works. The second one is private cloud, defined as computing services offered either over the internet or private internal network and only to selected users. So examples of private cloud are government cloud, stock HCH, and GCC High. The third platform type is hybrid cloud, which is a mix between public and private. Literally, the definition I have for it so far is computing environments that combine private and public. An example of hybrid cloud is that you own a SQL server. So you have a SQL server, but you want to scale or rent out StretchDB when needed. So you're scaling out, you're using private, you're using public, that's hybrid. The next section discussed is cloud pricing, which I will just say is a bit complicated. What I have written down is that it's difficult to estimate the price of services that you intend to use. So we discussed benefits last time. Now we're going to discuss the downsides of cloud computing. One downside is it's difficult to predict the monthly cost and pricing. 2 is it's difficult to understand in advance what a service will really cost. And 3 is you lose prediction if you're trying to save. This means if you're using a promo code or if you're using some type of saving code, you can't predict how much things are going to be in the future. I have a note that's starred that says, after some time, you can find the range of spending, but at first you really don't know. I actually have firsthand experience on this because I've done an Azure migration where we turned on all the resources, and the first few months there were just different charges because things were being built, things weren't completely executed yet. But after, I'd say like 4 months, the bill and the pricing started kind of regulating, and there was a range that you can kind of make sense and predict. Next section we're going to talk about are charges and fees. There are 4 types that we're going to discuss, and the first one is free services. So free services. There are a handful of free services that can be integrated as part of a solution. There are some paid services that have free trials, and there are some free versions that are limited, but you can still use it. Second type of fee is pay for time. So when you're using a resource, you're being charged by the hour, but the second you don't need it anymore, you can stop using it and you won't be charged anymore. The third type of fee is pay for a gigabyte, which is storage. So notes I have for this is you can choose to pay for data storage used. It's fairly cheap. It's about 0.02 per gigabyte per month, but you also have to pay for network traffic. So inbound's free, outbound you have to pay for. And the fourth fee type is pay for operation. Examples of operations are read, write, list, delete, so any operation or command. There is actually a pricing calculator on Microsoft's website where you can enter resources and kind of beef it up however you want. Like if you're building a virtual machine, you can beef it up as much as you want. You can put the CPU, RAM, drives, things like that, and it'll give you the price, or estimated price really. All right, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're enjoying the Azure Braindump series. Next week, we're getting into the concept of high availability, so I'm really excited about that. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.